Let's project how much cash flow this property in Milwaukee could generate as a long-term rental. So now I have the analysis pulled up. I ran the analysis on rentalpeak.com, and if you want to try it out for yourself, it's completely free to make an account and sign up, and you can just run an analysis and see these numbers for any property that you would like. But coming back to this property, you can see our total purchase cost. This is including financing, rehab, and everything to get into this property, and that yields us right now a projected cash flow of $112 a month. This translates to these returns and our total ROI and DSCR loan ratio for year one. Coming down to this screen, you can see our cash flow projections for over the course of 30 years of owning this property, and you can do a year by year breakdown. These just show the key years over the course of years 1 to year 30. And you can see how all these numbers are calculated, where the numbers are flowing out of the deal, what our income is, and how it'll change over the course of 30 years. And we're using these projections. So appreciation rate we'll set at 3, rent increase we're setting at 3, expense increase we're setting at 3. These are all on par with inflation. Total ROI tab is where things get interesting. This shows you the breakdown outside of just cash flow on what your total ROI is and the calculations behind it. You can see tax savings, debt pay down, appreciation, and cash flow and how they add up for each and every year over the course of 30 years of owning this property. So as I mentioned before, for appreciation rate, I set it at 3%, but on this tab, on the market data and comps tab, you can see specific market data for appreciation in the area that this property is in. So Milwaukee, Wisconsin, you can see the average appreciation rate based on the median home values for the last 10 years. And you can project like, hey, 3% might actually be a little low for this market, and you can project more of like a 4 and 5% when you run this analysis, and you can see more of a true total ROI value based on that. Right below that, we have market conditions. This will help you determine if it's a buyer's, seller's, or more of a balanced market. And what that translates to is if I can go in with a more aggressive offer, which would be a buyer's market, what's the chance of that being accepted? If it's a seller's market, you're less likely to have an aggressive offer accepted. And then below that, we have comparable rental properties. So in order to determine what you want to set for fair market value rent, you can look at what other properties here were listed for rent in proximity to this property, or you can sort by match. You can see where these properties are exactly in relation to this. So you can see in the general vicinity, there's a lot of comps here we have for data, and this will give you an idea of what you can set for fair market value rent for this property you want to rent out. So overall, the cash flow is not too bad. And if you want to increase this a little bit more, I ran the numbers assuming we're going to have a property manager here, and that cost us around $124 a month. So if you decide to self-manage this and you're willing and able to, that almost doubles your cash flow and therefore your cash on cash return. So you'll be looking at more of like a 9% cash on cash return and obviously over $200 a month in cash flow if you decide to self-manage.